Hi everyone, it's Kate from The Fold Line. I am back this week with a new video for you all. Almost forgot what I was going to say then. So this week it is the Sew Down, which is our monthly roundup of stuff that we've seen, listened to, read, sewn, all things that we think you guys would find interesting from the world of sewing and a little bit outside. And yes, so usually I start with a pattern and some fabric. In my last video, if you saw that about Me Made May, I sort of showed you the kind of fabrics that I've got at the moment, so I'm going to sort of skip that. But for anyone who, quite a few people emailed me about the Julienne jacket from Ready to Sew, which I have actually started making, so I'll show you actually in this sort of lovely cream. I've got the pockets on, haven't got the sleeves on, but the collar is pinned in. So I have been doing that kind of bit by bit this week, which has been really nice, just taking sort of 20 minutes to actually make some stuff. So that is sewing for me done this week. Next up, I also like to talk about an indie pattern company that you might not have heard of before. And so this week we have got LMO Patterns, which stands for LMNO, which is run by Liesl, and the LMNO is the initials of her 4 children, and she specialises in children's wear patterns. And I know that I have to say I don't talk about kids wear that much because I am child free, so I sort of neglect to talk about them, but I thought I'd put them in because they've got a really fantastic selection of patterns. They've got kind of probably nearly 40 different patterns, everything from newborn up to 6 years. And they're really modern and nice and kind of, I really like them because they're modern, but they've also got that sort of nostalgic feel. So sort of really lovely rompers and just really cute kids wear stuff. And if you're kind of a similar age to me, I'm sure all of your friends are having children, and these I thought would be really nice gifts to give to people, because giving someone something handmade is always really lovely. So yeah, I think I'll pop a link to everything I talk about down below, and I'll show some pictures of her patterns sort of here while I've been talking, so you can get a vibe of her sort of look. So next up, I have got an event, because actually I've got 2 events, because I thought this would be really interesting, and I think this is something that a lot of people would like to go to. So this is called Threads, a festival of textiles at the Farnham Maltings. So Farnham is in Surrey, it's just outside London. It is a one-day festival on the 8th of June. Tickets are £5 if you order in advance, or £7.50 on the day. The reason I included this because I think this is, well, anyone who goes to sort of the knitting and stitching show, the stuff that is on offer is inspiring, but the location is not very inspiring. And the Farnham Maltings is really beautiful on the inside. There are lots and lots of different companies coming. So there's everything from fabric shops to pattern companies, but there are also kind of designer makers there as well, so you can actually buy ready-made products. I had a look at the exhibitor list, and there's really, really nice people on there. So if you're in that area and you think you'd like a really nice day out, I would definitely recommend it. And it's just one day, so yeah, it's kind of small enough that doesn't feel overwhelming, but big enough that you could be there for a good chunk of time and get kind of inspired. And I personally really like going to see a show where there's stuff that's been made by people as well as the kind of raw components, because even if you're not going to buy it, you get kind of really inspired by what they've made. And I'm sure you guys are all the same, when you're like, oh, I could do that at home myself. So yeah, I think they'll be really good. I definitely think that's definitely worth a trip. If I wasn't on holiday that weekend, I would definitely be going. Next up, event wise, the Sewing Weekender, yes, is back this year. We are going to be releasing tickets at the end of May. And for anyone who doesn't know, this is our yearly kind of sewing retreat based in Cambridge, which it will be again. And it's going to be a fantastic weekend. There's about 90 people, we all come together, we all sew all weekend, there are talks, and it's just a really nice creative environment. It's nice to go and meet some other people. I know a lot of people who kind of were mates with people on Instagram and then met people in real life, and yeah, it's a really fantastic event and we are very excited about it. So it's going to be held, and I was trying to remember the date in my head. I'm going to be in so much trouble for this. It's the last weekend in August. Okay, guys, I'm really sorry. This is so unprofessional. I should know this. So I'm gonna look it up on my phone. I've got my phone here. So it is the weekend of the 31st of August and the 1st of September. So the 31st is a Saturday. Yeah, it's going to be mega. If you would like to come and you're interested in it, if you follow us on Instagram and all our social media channels, everything will be kind of pumping up on there so you can follow along. Yeah, I can't believe it. It's our 4th year. It's nuts. It's nuts. Anyway, next up thing I've got to talk to you about, which is quite exciting actually. We got an email this week from Love Productions, who produce the Sewing Bee, to tell us that applications are open to apply for next year's show. Please, will someone we know apply? I really want to have like someone that we know on it. So please, will you just apply? I'm not allowed to, so you have to. I think there's only about a week to go, so you need to crack on and do your application. Please, I really want you to, and I'm double daring you to do it, because it would be lush to have someone who we know on there. Yeah, I can't believe, and it's really nice actually. This means it's definitely coming back for another series, which is exciting because I wasn't sure after this round that it would. So yeah, that is pretty exciting. Next up, I've got a kind of community challenge which is happening on Instagram. I cannot remember if I spoke about this, so I just thought I would. If I have, apologies, but I don't think I did. So this is called, the hashtag is Sew Together for Summer. They did it, I think it might be its 3rd year, and last year it was all about the vintage shirt dress, and this year they kind of do a theme each year, and this year's theme is the jumpsuit. And I thought I'd talk about this because I know a lot of us are planning to make jumpsuits this season. So the premise is that you just pick any pattern you want, make the jumpsuit, use the hashtag, and then at the end of it there'll be loads of amazing prizes, I think. So they'll pick the ones that they love, and it's a really fun one because it's very easy to do. If you're going to make a jumpsuit anyway, just shove the hashtag on the end anyway, and it's on until the end of June, I think middle to end of June, so you've still got a bit of time left. The other thing I will say is that I will pop a link to Sarah's site, but there are loads of really fantastic discount codes on there for jumpsuits, including on our site. So on our site you can get 10% off all our jumpsuit patterns that we have. So and I think the code is Sew Together for Summer. So yeah, if you're up for doing a jumpsuit and you want to get involved, you can get 10% off all jumpsuits, which is kind of cool. And there's loads of other amazing discounts on there, so it's definitely worth going and checking out, because let's be honest, we all love a bit of a bargain. Next up, I've got an interesting a job opportunity which I saw and thought I would share because there aren't that many cool and interesting sewing jobs that come up. This is to work at Fabrics Galore, which is a fabric shop based in South London. It is part-time, I think. Yes, it's 1, 2, 3. So it's 4 days a week, and it would be a really fun job. They have really fantastic fabrics. I buy quite a lot of my stuff from there. The people there are really nice. They do all the shows as well, so there's opportunities for you guys to go and do the shows with them. And yeah, if you're interested in fabric, let's be honest, we all are. Spending a whole day stroking fabric would never be a bad thing. So I'll pop a link to the post so you can go and have a look if you're interested. Next up, I've got, I just had to include it because it's just so cute. So it's a little video about a guy who has been a tailor all of his life, and he's moved into a care home and he's still sewing, and it's very short. I think it's only like a couple of minutes long, but it is the sweetest little video. So I'll pop it a link in so you can go and watch it, because I watched it and it just made me feel really happy and yeah, mega sweet. So stuff to listen to. We have got, the first podcast I've got is called The Girl in the Cafe, Love What You Do by Celeste Wong. I've included this because there's a really fantastic, it's her first episode, it's the launch of her new podcast, but she is interviewing Tara, who runs Paper Theory Patterns. And if you haven't come across her brand before, she's definitely worth checking out. Beautiful stuff. She created the now iconic Zadie jumpsuit, which I am definitely going to be making this summer. And it's all about her kind of career in sewing. She's worked in the fashion industry for quite a long time. It gives you a very frank view on the fashion industry, having worked in it myself. Everything she said, I was like, yep, I totally agree. So it's a really lovely interview. It's about 45 minutes long, but it's definitely worth listening to, because I found it really, really interesting and inspiring. So I've got 3 more things podcast wise, which are not completely sewing related, but I had to share them with you. I've just seen on my camera, I've just looked at my flowers. They look really sad. Look at them. They're all, I bought peonies. Have anyone had this? I bought peonies and the stems have just like dropped. So now it looks like I've got basically like a dead selection of flowers. Yeah, they're supposed to be up like that, but they're like that. Anyway, sorry, I've got distracted. I could just see in the camera that basically I have like a vase of dead flowers next to me, which is interesting. Anyway, okay, next up, cool podcasts that I just thought I would pop in because they are things that I've listened to this week that I've really enjoyed. So the first one is Desert Island Discs. I'm sure loads of you have listened to this, with Louis Theroux, who, if you haven't come across to him, is a documentary maker. I mean, if you haven't seen his documentaries, you just go and watch them because they're fantastic. I really loved his interview. He was talking about his relationship with his wife and how he got into it, and he's just a really interesting guy, so I would highly recommend that. It's amazing. Again, I'll pop links to everything. The next podcast that I have discovered, which I'm really enjoying, is Out to Lunch with Jay Rayner. So Jay Rayner is a food critic, really kind of probably one of the best known food critics, and he takes people out to lunch. So it does what it says on the tin and interviews them, but he picks restaurants that he thinks the person he's taking out for lunch will enjoy. And you have just the episode that I just died and went to heaven listening to was with Richard E. Grant. And it's just such a love. It's wonderful. You should just go listen to it because he's just so fantastic. And he's interviewed really interesting people. It's definitely worth listening to. I've loved it, and also they talk a bit about the food that they're eating, and it's inspired me to go to try new restaurants as well, so I would highly recommend that. Love him. My last podcast is, I came across this and I thought that you guys might find this interesting too. It's called Honestly with Clemmy Telford, and she is a content creator and blogger, kind of within the sort of mother world, I guess, primarily. But she has set up this podcast called Honestly, and it's where she has an honest conversation on a tricky subject with people. So there are 3 of them so far. So there's one about marriage, there's one about death, and there's one about race. And I found them really, really interesting. I really think the way that she interviews them is good. The one that I found totally fascinating is the one about death. And it's not as morbid as it sounds. It's just I almost don't want to spoil it, but it's interviewing someone who has set up a funeral parlour that is not your standard, and it was very interesting finding out about the process of when someone dies and I definitely know, I've been through it multiple times with friends and family. When someone dies, you get steamrolled into this whole shebang of how it should be, and actually it doesn't have to be like that. So I found that really interesting, and yeah, they're really good. I would recommend that. Cool, so that is it from me for this week. I will be back soon with another video for you all, and yeah, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you very soon. Bye.